Hello and welcome to Freedom Through Astrology, where I'm giving you the keys, and hopefully I can get through this one without the cats making a mess out of everything. I just moved this. FreedomThroughAstrology.com. My name is Don Patak. I'm your astrologer, and there's my contact information. Standard YouTube copyright. Cats, the bane of my existence. Love them. I wish they liked me more. Keys to the reading. I use what's called, I'm going to say, constellational astrology, or also known as sidereal astrology, which is astrology by the visible sky. So the transits are going to sound similar, but you'll notice the signs are different because tropical astrology fixes the signs to seasons. And I'm asking, where are these planets in the sky right now, actually? To make it simple, astrology by astronomy. I also use the natural size of the constellations. There are astrologers who make each constellation the same size, 30 degrees, and they're not. They're all over the place. When we get to the moons, you'll see this. Yeah, the moon this week is interesting. Always is. Virgo is huge at just under 50 degrees. Aries is barely 25. They're all over the place. So the natural size of the constellations, and I use astrological midpoints. The boundaries that the constellations currently have are the IAU boundaries, which just are drawn. I don't know how they came up with them. Athens Shimenti on the zodiac belt came up with midpoints between between the different constellations, and works a little bit better for me, and I like it. I use 13 signs. In ancient times, the calendar didn't have 12 months, it had 13 new moons because the word moon is where we derive month from. And the new year wasn't fixed to January 1st, it was fixed to a specific astronomical event, I think is the best word to use. So I do use 13 moons. I do use 13 signs. The missing sign, or the sign I'm restoring, is a fucus. It's the symbol of the wounded healer. It's where you are wounded in life with the intention of learning how to heal yourself so that you can heal others with the same wound and help them heal. What I'm sharing with you are the weekly transits. These are the universal lessons. So the keys here for you are to learn how to handle and how to succeed these weekly transits. I interpret using evolutionary astrology, which means these are lessons to learn. The transits are all neutral, and you can either learn the lesson or you can try to hide from it. And my dates and times are based on the US Eastern time zone. I was asked about that. So I like to put that in there. This is Eastern US time zone. I'm not sure what we're in anymore because they change things so much. So there we go. Our transit report for this week. This is July 7th through 14, 2024. The moon is our bit of peace and calm in this week in the sky. It's only going through 3 signs. It begins the week in Cancer. We'll step into Leo. You can all laugh at that. Leo, calm, right. But we're only going through 3 signs, so that makes it much easier to handle. So the moon begins in Cancer, nurturing. Leo, learning to be expressive and appreciated. And Virgo, improvement, getting better. So that is those are the 3 signs for the week. Our first quarter moon this week. It will be in Virgo, I believe, on Saturday. What is going this week, the beginning of the week is going to be very, very busy. There are 3 clusters that I've been able to identify, but we're going to have a very busy beginning of the week, or beginning to midweek, because we have sign changes. In order, I believe it's Venus moves into Cancer, Mars moves into Taurus, then Mercury moves into Leo. So a little bit different the way I have it listed there. We have a lot of sign changes, so that's right. There's a lot of energy to process. Next, active planets. Our most active planet this week is Venus. Dr. Danny, be proud. So it'll be Venus is our queen of the sky this week, so to speak. Lesser transits, but still active. Mercury is our next one. Sun, Mars, and Jupiter. And they're making aspects to the nodes, Saturn, Neptune, and Pluto. In addition to 3 of them are having sign changes. Yay! Retrograde planets. Retrograde means reflection. Just had another cat jump on the table. And the last time they did that, they made a big mess. Retrograde means reflection. So the reflections are Saturn in Aquarius. Are you being your authentic self? Neptune in Pisces. Are you learning your spiritual practices? And Pluto in Capricorn. Are you doing the work of the inner transformation? So that's what we've got going this week. This is our big overmap as lay of the week, as you can see. Hey, I had it right. So as you can see, this right here in this row, these are the dates, and I put the moons in there. So you see it starts in Cancer, goes into Leo, actually very early in the day, just couldn't squeeze it in there. Thursday, we step into Virgo, and that's it for the moon. But as you can see, our clusters, really, I'm going to pull up the pen here just to draw it so you can see. Really, we have one Monday kind of into Tuesday, and then the second cluster of Wednesday through Saturday, and then on late Saturday into Sunday we get this third cluster. So those are like three phases, if you wanted to call it, but that most intense is going to be the Monday, Tuesday with everything that's ending and beginning. And the Jupiter with the nodes of the moon is just going to be going this week into next week. Still waiting to nail down the exact end date on that because I've seen it change. So, but let's jump into this. Carrying over from last week. Okay, we have Venus in Gemini is in a sextile to Uranus in Taurus. So Venus in Gemini is learning about relationships. Uranus in Taurus is you learning to be at peace with your authentic self. So are you learning to be your authentic self in your relationships? A sextile is an interest. So you're interested. Are you learning how to be your authentic self? Are you in and being able to be that person? Now, the shadow of this, Venus in Gemini can be, you can be talking way too much about yourself or not sharing anything at all. Uranus and Taurus, Taurus can be incredibly lazy, but Uranus can either be that wildly eccentric person or the utter conformist. And they're just looking for the easy way out. What's the easy way out of handling this situation? And so you be this person who is trying to be something that they're not in their relationships and trying to convince others, and it just won't work, and the resulting disasters. So our lessons: learn to be at peace with your authentic self and others in their own zones there as well. Also in your relationships to others, remember that your real friends accept you as you really are. I think that's an important lesson here, and will encourage your authentic self. And the shadows: be careful of thinking or acting out or selling out to fit in will accomplish anything. We're not paying any attention to others, ignoring others and trying to be, the life of the party just isn't going to work too well. So please be careful of that. And that's starts on Sunday, Monday, ends on Tuesday. That's kind of our first cluster. And Mercury is in a sextile to Jupiter. And this is why Jupiter is a big player. One of the reasons why Jupiter is a big player. Mercury in Cancer is learning to be nurturing. Opportunities to find peace and stability. So if you're working with this, and this sextile is an excitement. I forgot to say that for the other one. Is sextile is an excitement and an interest. So this is learning to nurture yourself, and it can give you an opportunity for stability. I mean, that's a simple way of putting it. And so my notes also here say learning to express, know what you know in a nurturing way, pay attention to what disturbs or bothers you, can be a sign of where healing is needed. Remember, Cancer is the crab, so it's got that protective shell, but if something gets in that shell and rubs up against it wrong, like a cat jumping on a table and not having anything to stop it, so it skids and knocks everything off. Can create problems, so be careful of that, but that's going to show where you need healing. Know that by taking care of yourself can lead to greater opportunities for peace and stability in your life. Too many notes up here and it's just getting distractive. Okay, there we go. This shadow, thinking you know how to take care of yourself. And Jupiter is thinking way too highly or underestimating the peace and stability you have. So you can think you know how to do this, you know how to take care of yourself, and thinking and as a result, you think you got more stability than you really have and more peace than you have, but you really don't. Or you don't think you know anything about how to take care of yourself, and that creates just more tension and stress. So that's that. Be careful in not expressing yourself or express yourself in snippy comments. Falling into arguments could turn explosive, and all that just weakens your ability to find peace and stability in your life and can actually lead to the proverbial bull in a china shop. Talk about that more next, later in this broadcast or forecast. Jupiter in Taurus is not in a square. I thought I changed that. My bad. Jupiter in Taurus is in a trine to the South Node in Virgo. I changed it up. A bunch of other slides I made mistakes too, and I must have missed this one. Life happens. Jupiter in Taurus is in a trine to the South Node in Virgo. So Jupiter in Taurus is opportunity for peace and stability. The South Node is showing you how you hold yourself back, and in Virgo, it's in perfectionism. So being aware of how you're holding yourself back and making the appropriate changes, saying, learning the difference between perfection and good enough can bring peace and stability into your life and provide those opportunities. However, let's see, do I have anything? So yeah, be open to opportunities, let perfectionism go and find greater peace and stability in your life. Know what your actual abilities are and be okay with them where they are. Sometimes that's all that's all that's expected of you, and that's fine. Know that you can get better in time. Through this, you have an opportunity for greater peace and stability in your life. I like Taurus. Peace and stability just goes with me. Falling into the shadow is just driving yourself crazy with perfectionism. And a trine is easy energy. So if you realize you're pushing yourself too hard and you stop and say, hold on, that peace and stability will come to. But if you're pushing yourself into this perfectionist attitude and you think that you've got this, that everything is okay, it's not, it's just going to fall into a greater mess. Or if you underestimating, it can really lead to a greater mess. If you underestimate what your abilities really are or overestimate, either which way, you're going to create problems and it's going to create disturbances in the force. I don't know why I had to say that. But yeah, okay, yeah, I used to watch that movie when I was young. Be careful falling into perfectionism and trying to force things to happen that aren't the way you want them to. That is just going to upset the apple cart in a bad way. I will be talking about the other part of this transit shortly. I didn't have the moon. The moon in Cancer was where we're starting the week, and that's nurturing and self-care. On Monday, the moon will enter into Leo. And the moon is your emotional self, is learning how to express itself and be appreciated. So expressing your emotional self and being appreciated for it. Be open to the opportunity. Yeah, accept opportunities to be seen and express yourself and to show off your abilities. Be open to the opportunity to shine and appreciated by others. Now there's the old joke, hey, everybody, look at what I'm doing, and nobody pays attention, so you yell louder. Bad thing to do here, that's the shadow. The other thing is thinking that, the lion to be king of the jungle, it has to roar. If it doesn't roar, is it really the king? So, is hiding out and hiding your abilities and not expressing yourself. and not sharing your needs. And that's the other disaster that can happen here. So be careful of playing to the crowd, settling for style or substitute and cheap applause, or when you're given the opportunity to shine, hiding away. Just not what you want to do here. And here's the other half of this. We have the trine, we have the sextile, Jupiter in Taurus, opportunity for peace and stability. The North Node is an evolutionary intention. In Pisces, the intention is to learn transcendence. Pisces and Taurus, water and earth, actually work well together because they're kind of similar. But Pisces is more spiritual, is finding spiritual peace here. And finding that spiritual peace can lead to finding that peace in this physical world. So this is a sextile. So that's an excitement or interest. So and these two can feed each other. So finding peace in the physical world can lead to spiritual peace. Finding peace in the spiritual world can lead to physical peace and peace and stability in this world. And overall, the nodes are in opposition. If they pull themselves out of line, that's where the imbalance happens, and you wind up with a disaster, and that leads to a lot of instability. Or you can, South Node in Virgo, seeing that you're, knowing that, the perfectionist attitudes are, and saying, hey, these are what my real talents and abilities are, and I am at peace with that, and that can lead to the greater opportunity for peace and stability in your physical world. This here, the South and North Node are inner events. And so how is your inner world creating your outer world? Literally, I'm just going to leave it at that. It begins on July 8th, goes to the 11th, and exits next week. Between the 16th and the 18th, every time I've run the program, I've gotten a different date. So next week I will have this, but know that it does run all this week and into next week. On top of this, not only do we have Jupiter with the nodes, we also have Mercury. Mercury in Cancer is learning to be nurturing and caring. It's in I thought I got these backwards again. This is when those cats messed me up, and I reviewed and I thought everything was okay. Fine, I'll just deal with it. Current slide. Mercury in Cancer is in a no, it isn't. A true son of a gun. Should have just left well enough alone. It's been one of those days. I apologize. Mercury is in a trine to the North Node, sextile to the South Node. Mercury in Cancer is learning to nurture and care for yourself. The trine to the North Node is spiritual care, by learning to take care of yourself and meeting your spiritual needs. I think that's the important lesson here. So when you're learning to take care of yourself and take care of yourself spiritually, that can bring nurturing and healing for you. One of the things about Cancer is it's nurturing and it can lead to healing. It's one of the two signs that I use to address healing. So we have Mercury and Cancer in a trine to the North Node, and I was right. It's right here. Cats, kind of the bane of my existence on some days. Love them, but when they're getting a little too crazy, so embrace the opportunity to learn how to nurture your spiritual side. Avoid underestimating your ability to learn and understanding higher knowledge. That's a shadow here. Mercury can underestimate its ability to learn and therefore hold itself back or think it knows more than it does. And again, that will create problems as well. But know what you know. Be patient, give it time. Through this, you can find new ways of seeing the world, new ways of experiencing the spiritual world. And I did talk a little bit about the shadow. Mercury can think it knows too much or not enough. And in Pisces, it can fall into fantasy. So thinking it knows more than it does and falling into this fantasy about being an enlightened guru or whatever. And, I know how to do this. And when it doesn't happen, oops, problems. And the other half of this equation is the sextile to the South Node, which is there. Okay. Good. Not changing this slide 5 times. The South Node in Virgo is perfectionism, And Mercury and Cancer, learning how to take care of yourself and know that you're doing the best job that you can at this time. Yes, you can learn more, but what you know right now is good enough and it's helping you. This is really cool. If I were to actually draw that in, I'm just going to draw that in. Because this is all happening to Jupiter. By nurturing and taking care of yourself, it can lead, and and learning how to balance what you know against your ideals, and just learning to let things go. Hey, I know this and I'm good enough and I'm at peace with it. This can lead to greater self-care and peace and stability in your life. I should have put that in as a slide. I didn't. Life happens. That's the way my day has been today. And Mercury, this is just a quick transit. Let me close that out or we're not going anywhere. Tuesday, Venus enters Cancer, nurturing your relationships. Venus is about relationships. It's also about creativity. So how are you nurturing your relationships? How are you nurturing your creativity? Learn to change your perception of people. Bad information can affect how you see them. So this is learning. This can be nurturing your relationships, learning to see people that you know in a new way or a different light, or understanding them in a new way or a different light. And this can, and you can be encouraging in that. Ask questions of people, listen to the answers about them. You may get to know them in new ways, and meeting new people. And also meeting new people, because it is about relationship and meeting new people and learning about them, and learning to nurture those new friendships, and about creativity as well. Supporting the arts and supporting your ability in the arts, be it music or the creative arts. How are you supporting that? The shadow here, Venus can be slick and manipulative of its friends and the people around it. Bad waiting to happen. And in Cancer, it becomes defensive or plays the victim quite well and wants people to take care of it. So manipulating people into taking care of you and nurturing you, when you should really be learning how to do it for yourself. Be careful of also getting stuck in old patterns of relationships, becoming invisible. That can be a bad thing as well. All right. And we have Sun in a trine to Saturn in Aquarius, and Saturn is retrograde. I don't like that. I was going to fix that. It was that wonderful, another cat incident. But Sun in Gemini trying to Saturn in Aquarius, retrograde. Now, Saturn in Aquarius is doing the work of becoming more authentic. And this is a trine, so this is easy energy to work with. Sun in Gemini is you learning about who you really are. And that's the question. Are you learning about your authentic self, and are you becoming your authentic self? So this is kind of a little time of reflection here. And if not, what is it you need to learn to become more authentic? Now, the shadow, the Sun can be egotistical, and in Gemini, God forbid, he'll never shut them up. Or the other side of the coin, can underestimate itself, play the dark star, and not want to learn about themselves. And Saturn in Aquarius, well, Saturn is just giving up and deciding, I'm just going to become wildly eccentric and stick out like a sore thumb and do things to get a reaction from people, or I'm going to sell and become a conformist and try to fit in. And so here the Sun's either going to enable that, becoming more wild, or selling out even more. And what do I have here for that? I'm good with that. Be careful of becoming stuck in what you already know and run into the empty rut of mindless routine. Can make it harder to learn who you really are. So be careful of that. And like I said, be careful of also that whole act up or sell out routine. Bad. Wednesday. Did I mention Venus has a lot of transits this week? So Venus in Cancer is in a trine to Neptune in Pisces. And this is about spiritual relationships and reflecting on your spiritual relationships and reflecting on how spirituality can inform your relationships and perhaps even strengthen them. How, and think about that. What is your relationship to your spiritual side like? Do you take the time to just sit there and be there with yourself and learn about that part of yourself? Do you take the time just to sit there and be with your friends? I think my one friend's daughter, whenever we got together, two classic introverts. For the life of me, I don't understand accounting, and she really wasn't interested in what I was what I was interested in at that time, all the political stuff. But we would just sit there together. She would do her accounting homework. I would read my political science stuff. We'd have a cup of tea together. But that relationship worked, and we were happy with it. And of course, she would share a little bit about her accounting stuff and what she was learning, and I would share a little bit about what, the political science I was reading, the theory, and how it related to the news and events and stuff. But this is about, learning to just be with people. Can you be with yourself and nurture yourself and nurture your spiritual habits, nurture yourself with your spiritual practices? Are you? And if not, what can you change? Be careful. Venus in Cancer can be slick, manipulative, the whiner. Neptune in Pisces can fall into fantasies and delusions. So be careful falling into illusions about your relationships and that side of it, or ignoring spirituality altogether. Just denying that it exists. That would be a disaster, I think. Also on Wednesday, we got some stuff happening with Mars this week, by the way. Mars enters Taurus. Mars honestly does not like Taurus. Mars, fire sign, Taurus, earth, peace, stability. Mars, let's get up and do something. Taurus, let's sit still and be there. Let's just chill out, man. Have the courage to be at peace and look to and defend your ability to have peace and stability in your life. Let go of unnecessary conflicts. What conflict, what fights do you really need to have? Why bother sometimes? Are they really worth it? Let go of the stress. Have the courage to let go of the stress and the things that aren't bringing you peace in your life. Pay attention to how stress appears in your body, learning to release it. And listen to what your body is telling you as well. Have the courage to do that. It is a lot of hard work. I'm not going to crack the joke about Mars and Taurus. If you want to know, email me and I'll send you the quip. It's a one-liner. However, the shadow, Mars, it falls into fear. Taurus, instead of being that nice, calm, peaceful animal, can be ultimately lazy, or it can be a bull in a china shop. So Mars getting angrier about things becomes the bull in the china shop, and this becomes an even bigger disaster. Or it falls into fear and cowardice and doesn't do a single thing at all. Cowards can also lash out pretty bad too. But be careful of holding on to old grudges and long-term problems. Also falling into fear can be laid into just like cowardice and laziness and trying to hide out, or bursts of anger. Thursday. Okay, my notes are out of order, but I'll deal with it. Did I mention Venus had some transits this week? Venus in Cancer is in opposition to Pluto in Capricorn, and Pluto is retrograde. So this is doing the inner work of transformation. Venus in Cancer is learning to be nurturing and caring, taking care of your relationships. And Pluto in Capricorn is about doing the inner work and inner transformation. Are you learning and are you changing so that you're supporting your relationships? That's the reflection here. Are you doing the work that you need, the internal work that you need to do so you can be a supportive friend and you can be there for your friends and associates and people when they need you? Face those uncomfortable truths if you need to in your relationships and about yourself too. Uh, Look to see how you can use changing relationships, become more empathetic. I hope I'm using the right word there. More empathy towards people or towards yourself and others. Realize where there's no honesty, realize where there is no honesty, there can be no trust, even within yourself. So do look at your relationships and are you trusting people? Do you trust yourself in your relationships? The shadow, and again, Venus, like a manipulative, trying to get people to take care of themselves. And Pluto can be destructive, cynical, bitter, Capricorn, trying to control others, be a control freak. And this gets to be a big, this can be a big mess of where is it? Refusing to do the deep inner work and change the way you are in the relationships and trying to control people can lead to explosive. You know, this is a person who's trying to manipulate and control people to doing things for them, and it just gets out of control and just gets ugly fast. And ruins relationships and gets you a bad reputation. You want to know what your reputation is? Look at Capricorn. That can tell you a lot about your reputation. Here we go. Mercury enters Leo. Mercury, learning and communication in Leo, to be expressive, to be appreciated. So this is learning to be appreciated for what you know, your skill, your talents. That just came out so wrong. Your skills, talents, and abilities. And Leo is either the second or the third largest constellation in the sky. So this is going to take a little time. Mercury ripped through Gemini, ripped through Cancer, and now it's actually going to take time to actually have to learn something. So learn, being able to express your talents and abilities. So learn to express yourself, be appreciated for what you know and what you've learned, and learn confidence as well. The lion needs to roar. In order to roar, it needs to have confidence. There's an opportunity to learn confidence as well. If you're not sure how to do it, now is the time to learn. Groups like Toastmasters or other things like that can help you, learn your confidence in speaking and presenting yourself. Shadow, Mercury can be a know-it-all. And in Leo, trying to being this cocky know-it-all is just going to be a disaster. And you trying to play to the crowd and please the crowd can be a mess. Flip side of the coin, Leo, Mercury can not want to talk at all. And you're not the king of the jungle if you don't roar, and just trying to find ways to hide is also a bad thing to do. So be careful, excessive talk or saying nothing of any value, or thinking the others want to hear, or saying nothing at all. Any which way, you miss this opportunity. And people won't know who you are. This is your opportunity to get out in the world and let people know who you are, what you're capable of. Think. And midday, this really should have been first. Moon enters Virgo midday. I think, actually, between this and the Mercury, good enough. The moon in Virgo is looking for where it can improve and get better in life. Virgo is looking for perfectionism to get better, and the moon is your emotional self. It's looking for how it can get to improve and become better. So looking for where you can improve yourself, take time for self-evaluation, self-reflection. It's a time to accept responsibility to get better. Be careful of crippling self-criticism and pessimism and being overly emotional about it. This can get really bad. This will lead to you wasting time and a lot of whining, and nobody likes to be around whiners, let's be honest. Friday. Take a deep breath. We've got transits finishing up and nothing new really beginning. So transits from earlier in the week finishing out here, except for that Jupiter and the nodes that's still going on. But the shorter, quick transits, we get to take a breath from them. On Saturday, Mars is conjunct Uranus. So this is the courage to be your authentic self and find peace and stability. And its simplest way of saying that, yeah, take time to address, be who you really are. Have the courage to be your authentic self, and knowing that when you are your authentic self, it brings peace and stability to your life. Let's see. Expect to face challenges. Know that if people do challenge you, that you've got the strength to be that person. Shadow, Mars, explosive anger, or is basically the shadow of Mars is fear, and it can come out as explosive anger or cowardice trying to hide out. And that explosive anger and Uranus, just going to be crazier. Uranus, can act out even more. Okay, they didn't notice my mohawk that's spiked out a foot. Well, now I'm going to paint it fluorescent colors. They're going to have no choice but to notice it, and I'm going to make sure they notice it. Or falling into fear and trying to sell out even more, thinking that's going to bring peace and stability. It's just trying to be a round peg in a square hole. Not going to work. It's always going to fall out. So be careful of becoming headstrong and stuck and being eccentric or a conformist. Both can have you looking impulsive, looking lazy. Easy way out just doesn't exist. And Saturday, we have the first quarter moon in Virgo. This is an interesting one because you have the sun, which is the ego. You came here to learn, have a healthy ego. In Gemini, wanting to learn. So this is the ego wanting to learn. What in the... Just had another cat, one of my cats run into my house and sleep. I'm not sure where she's went. It's been a bad day for me with cats. I think she was chasing a mouse. So the sun in Gemini wants to learn, and it's the ego, so it wants to try to learn everything. The moon in Virgo is looking where it can improve. So the challenge here is to focus on the information, learning the skills that can help you improve and become better. And it will fulfill an emotional need. Squares are challenges, so yes, it's hard, but in this case, on the positive, it's a stepping stone. It's creating strength. If you look at the pyramids, I always say this about squares. When you look at the pyramids, they look like triangles. Everybody say that's why they're so strong. Triangles are strong, but when you get up to the pyramids up close, they're built on 90-degree angles. They're large blocks, they're squares, and that tension creates the strength. So this tension can create the strength that helps you learn that what you need to know to become a better person. That's the high side of this quarter moon. The low side of the quarter moon is just not listening to yourself or not listening to the advice being given to you on how to become better and becoming more egotistical, talking over people, not listening, or getting bad advice and trying to learn the wrong thing. Either which way, it's a disaster. That tension's just going to snap and everything's going to fall and crumble to pieces. So what else do I have in here? Yeah, falling into crippling self-criticism, think there's nothing that you need to learn or that you can't learn it at all. Both cases, mindless chatter, either verbal or in your head, serves as a distraction from life, and you wind up losing the opportunity. This is an incredible first quarter square to have, and it can be potentially very powerful during this Gemini season. And on Sunday, our final transit. Sun in Gemini squaring Chiron in Pisces. I'm going to talk about that really. It's something that popped up in my brain as I was rehearsing this. Like, I'm not going to make another slide to show it, but I'll talk about it a little bit. This is learning how to heal and release the wounds. Simply put, wounded ego, learning how to heal. The Chiron is learning how to heal, and Pisces is transcending the wound, releasing the wound. So the challenge here is to learn how to heal and release the wound so it no longer holds you back. For a very brief moment, the moon will be in an opposition Chiron will be in opposition to the moon. So you may get an insight on a wound that affects you. And the challenge here for the sun is to learn about that, what you need to know the information you need to know to heal that wound so that you can release it. But nonetheless, this can strengthen you. This is, yeah, this is a quarter there. So this can be strengthening as well. Forgot to put in the square symbol. Oh well. So this can be strengthening and help strengthen your core identity. That's what your ego is your core identity. There are these people who say, "Oh, I came here to get rid of my ego and lose your ego." You came here to learn how to not have the shadow of your ego and to be egotistical. You came here to learn how to have a healthy ego. Um, So the aim here is, that's what I said. I'll leave it at that. It's accept the challenge of learning how to heal the wound to your identity and be able to release them or see things from a different perspective. It is possible to learn from others who have faced similar struggles, seek out their stories, and that can help you heal as well. The shadow, being egotistical, talking over everything, pretending the wound isn't there and ignoring it and falling into fantasy. There's nothing wrong. I don't have to worry about it. Disaster, living in denial, just, denial is a river in Egypt. I live in Western New York, so living in denial kind of hard. Bad joke, I know. But living in denial can just lead to greater wounding and greater problems in your life. That's where we end this week. All right, this is a special event that's going to be coming up next month. There'll be more information released later this month. This is July. I'll be meeting with Danny this week, actually, to talk about the layout and plan for the course. But I do a lot of work with the nodes of the moon. Anytime I know a lot of astrologers just ignore them. I like to pay attention to them because that's how you grow and evolve. So I'm doing a special course on the nodes of the moon and how to read them in your birth chart. I'll be working with my friend, Dr. Danny. She specializes in Venus. So if you really want to understand your relationship styles and all that stuff, I do recommend her work. She's very good. My course will be beginning on August 8th. There'll be more information soon. We will have an online live video session you'll be able to tune into and hear more about it. I have greater details. You can follow me on social media, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube. There's another platform I'm going to jump on. I was just told about it. I don't have anything set up, so I'll skip. Also on the Digital Soul Space, now free, digitalsoulspace.org. It's free. Your privacy is number one. There's 3 moderators, and the trolls just stay away because they know the minute they open their mouth, they're gone. All these other ones are free, but they're harvesting your data and making billions of dollars off of it, and you're not getting anything. And even though there are people who do get some money because they meet certain criteria, considering what the corporation's making versus what you're actually, if they didn't have your data, they wouldn't be worth the money that they have. So this is privacy focused, digital soul space, and all sorts of platforms on there, not just modalities. Well, all different modalities. So if you're into astrology, there's astrologers. There are, if you're into crystals, oh gosh, oracle cards, all sorts of different, all the different spiritual tendencies and traditions, they're on there. Okay, site reminder and the packages. Oops. So the website, still doing work on it, still tweaking, but still making the changes. You get a quick 6 reading. You want to see how your chart is different? Schedule the quick 6. First set of keys, because I'm giving you the keys to having the freedom in your life. Understand your birth chart, the past life or karmic reading. Quick pick joins those 2 together. The second set of keys is understanding your sky, your personal horoscope. And I do a life cycle, a yearly horoscope, quarterly, which is a 3-month block, and then a monthly horoscope, which I like to run new moon to new moon, but I have people who like the first of the month to last of the month. So however you want it, I do it. I do have packages that combine these different readings together, and they have them in a discount built in. So if you buy a package, you're getting a discount. If you click on subscribe, that takes you to my newsletter. It's a once-a-week event. We get a summary of the major events of the week, an astrological insight, exclusive only subscriber discounts and offers, and information on live appearance and events that I may do. I've got a couple I'm hopefully getting into if I can get my stuff to work. If you click on blog, it takes you to my weekly blog, and I've been doing these daily deep dives, and I've started putting I every morning I sit down and I go over what the astrology for the day is, what the major transits are, and my personal transits. And I decided, like, I'll just put the major transits out for everybody else. So I have been doing a little daily forecast. Check it out. If you like it, let me know. And then I do the weekly transits, and I do daily deep dives, is what I call them. That's how that coffee cup got flung on the floor last time and spilled hot tea all over my leg, cat. I really like my cats, but sometimes they're just a little too much. That's how that coffee cup went flying, cat. Kitten commercial. And this is the parkour kitten. This guy thinks he can jump all over the place and hop across my kitchen in 3 jumps. And yes, I've seen him do it. He really has a nice coat. He really is friendly, but sometimes he just wants to do too much. So, weekly stars and transits. If you click on services, that's how you get your readings. That's how you schedule your read. That's how you get your readings. What I do when you order a reading is I make a recording. You get the recording. You watch the recording. You make the notes and questions that you want asked and information you want more, and the things that you want more information about. This way, when we get together for that time, you're not sitting there listening to me talk. You're asking me the questions about the information that you want to know. I've got a lot of positive feedback about that. People are getting so much more out of their readings. So that's how I'm doing the ordering now. That's how you play. That's how you place them. I've got to do some refinement for the packages, but if you're just looking for single readings, this is the best place to get them. Minimize this. Let's go back here. Slideshow. Current slide. Follow me on these different places. There's that. Thank you. Like, follow, share, sign up for the newsletter if you've not already signed up for it. And remember, in the visible sky, your life changes. When you line your life with the visible sky, you're aligning yourself with the way the universe really is and your life's real intentions. Thank you very much. Have yourself an incredible week. Enjoy the changes and the transformation.